Welcome to the Archives. My name is Marcus Robbins. I'm a University Archivist. And happy LGBT Day month. And in celebration of LGBT month, it is also Archives month. Yeah, can you believe it? We also have a month. And so in celebration of both of those, we have a presentation this evening of Dr. Chet DeFonso, who I like to affectionately call the great poobah, man about town, the gadfly looking for Mr. Goodbar. You've seen him everywhere. He's kind of the unofficial mayor of Marquette. But before I introduce him, as I'm trying to do, I'd just want to remind you that you're in the University Archives. This is the Central Upper Peninsula University Archives. This is part of our outreach programming called Evening at the Archives, and it's designed to try to draw attention to us and publicize the archives. I'd like to point out that this is a place where you can come. It's a safe place. It's a quiet place. It's a place you can come just to study. You don't have to have any reason to be here to review our records. Our collections are available. And Nikki Wilhelm, our next presenter this evening as well, is going to talk a little bit about how you can find out about those. I just want to emphasize that it's a place you can come to, and it's not this stuffy elitist kind of thing. And without further ado, and I hope you all know that Dr. Chet DeFonso is also a professor of history here at NMU. Chet?
Thanks. Nikki, I figured I'd speak for about 25, 30 minutes maybe, and then you speak, do your thing, and then we'll answer any questions.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay.
Not too late.
Hi there, Tony.
Hi, how are you?
Well, it's great to see you all here tonight. It's Archives Month and it's LGBTQ History Month, and those things go together like stuff. They go together like stuff. They really do, and it's just natural and destiny that I am here tonight because it's two things that I really love to talk about. Archival stuff, archival research, history, and LGBT identity. And these things are coming together. It's really a big thing. There are people who are writing about this, researching it. There are people who are living it and doing it. It's called the archival turn. And it's kind of a phenomenon, a grassroots phenomenon, all over the country and around the world. How the archives are becoming a space. They're becoming a place. They're becoming a venue for people who are in search of an identity, in search of a way of expressing themselves, in search of a way of having a story of themselves, their community, and also for their future as well, because the archive is not just about the past, it's also about the future, because the people who control the archives are the people who are going to be setting the tone, setting the record, and setting the agenda for the future. So it's really great to see you all here, to hear a little bit, to think a little bit about the archives as a queer space, and then maybe to have some discussion about it afterwards. Just my little turn here, archives, queering the archives. Archives as a supportive, integrative, and active space for queer, non-normative individuals and sexualities. Okay, time for a commercial break. So the commercial break, it's registration time for NMU, and you are all eligible for enrolling in classes that are part of the gender and sexuality minor at NMU. We do have a program in gender and sexuality studies, which includes a variety of offerings. You can find those offerings at the Gender and Sexuality Studies Facebook page, or by going to the NMU homepage and seeing what is being offered. The course that I teach on gay and lesbian history is part of that minor. Unfortunately, it's not being offered in the winter semester, but there are some other fine offerings as well. Thank you. That was the commercial portion of tonight's presentation. Back to queering the archives. And as I was mentioning, it's a big thing. This is a very important journal in the historical profession, the journal Radical History Review. And this is their current issue, Queering Archives, Intimate Tracings. And it's a collection of essays by scholars who are working in the archives and with archives and about the archives today. And here's another important presenter and publishing person and scholar who works with archives. Her name's Ann Vetkovich. She teaches at the University of Texas at Austin. She was out in UCLA, part of their colloquium series, sponsored by the Department of Information Studies, speaking on Keynote, Effect, and the Archive. So just a little bit more about these activities, these scholarly activities. This book, Queering Archives, Intimate Tracings. This issue considers how archives allow historical traces of sexuality and gender to be sought, identified, recorded, and assembled into accumulations of meaning. Contributors explore conundrums in contemporary queer archival methods, probing some of them in essays on the Catholic Church and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This issue also includes a series of intergenerational interviews reflecting on histories of LGBT archives, a roundtable discussion about legacies of queer studies of the archive, and a closing reflection by Joan Nestle, a founding figure in the practice of international queer archiving. So there's a lot of active scholars, individuals who are involved in exciting research, who are using the archives, but they're also critiquing the archives to understand what it's all about. Just really fascinating time to be working in archives and to be thinking about what archives have to offer. So a good place to start thinking about the archives is by looking at LGAR. That's an acronym, an abbreviation for the Lesbian and Gay Archives Roundtable. And they have a very active presence in the archival community. If I can come up to their site here. The Lesbian and Gay Archives Roundtable was founded in 1989 by members of the Society of American Archivists who were concerned about lesbian and gay history and the role of lesbian and gays in the archival profession. The group, which welcomes non-members of the society and people of all sexual orientations, promotes the preservation and research use of records documenting lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender history, and serves as a liaison between lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transsexual archives in the Society of American Archivists. So they have a lot of interesting information here, and I would love to spend some more time looking at it. They have presences on Twitter and on Facebook as well. But what I want to focus on right now is this link here, the Lavender Legacies Guide. And this is a compendium of archival sites all over North America that are useful for those people interested in knowing more, researching, studying lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer identities. Very helpfully organized by state and also by Canadian province. Just we can come down here to Michigan, and voila, a number of listings in Michigan. Alas, not the Central Upper Peninsula and Northern Michigan University
This is
Archive.
an outrage.
But
I will correct this problem.
there's no reason why it would not be up here. We have the Bentley Historical Library, University of Michigan, Central Michigan, Detroit Public Library, Library of Michigan, Michigan State University, University of Michigan, and then Wayne State University. And what's really great about this site is that it tells you a little bit about each archive and also their particular holdings and what they have that's useful or interesting in that particular area. So lots of interesting information here. Lots of good information for somebody who wants to do some research or who might be interested in going to another school for graduate work. Well, to know what's actually out there. So, for example, here at Wayne State, the Ruther Library, they have extensive holdings in LGBTQ material. They have material that relates to the lesbian and gay movement in Detroit. Ernest Holm, a retired General Motors research librarian and archivist, has been a known activist in the Detroit gay civil rights movement since 1979, holding membership and leadership positions in several LGBT organizations. His papers document the activities of gay and lesbian liberation movement in Detroit, primarily through the records of these organizations: the Association of Suburban People, ASP, the Southeast Gay and Lesbian Council, and the Detroit Area Gay and Lesbian Council. So, and also they have the Michigan Coalition for Human Rights. So you can find out what's in these archives without having to actually visit them in person. Just a fantastic resource here. Okay, come down. Whoops, did I go too far? Uh-oh. How do I get back to my presentation?
Right there, word.
Okay, there we are. Yay! Good. Lavender Legacies, a guide to sources in North America. Well, let's look at some particular archives around the